Welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. In today's video, guys, I wanted to talk about a Spider-Man story that I recently read in preparation for a new versus battle that we'll be doing soon regarding, Kraven the Hunter. And yeah, because I'm going to be doing a Kraven versus battle pretty soon on the channel, I've been reading all of his main stories, basically everything you need to read to know about his feats and stuff he's done in the comics and the canon 616 timeline Marvel. And because of this, I've recently read Kraven's Last Hunt, and I just want to give my quick thoughts on this story before I drop the Kraven versus battle video. And yeah, overall, the story was really good. When I went into it, I thought that it was going to be kind of like overrated considering how much praise it's gotten over the years. Almost every top 10 comic video you watch, or at least most of them, maybe like top 10, top 20 video of comic stories you should read, and for sure, Kraven's Last Hunt is usually on there. And it's, regarded to be a masterpiece. So when I went into it, I kind of didn't have high expectations because I thought it was just one of those cases where the story was just overhyped because of nostalgia and stuff like that. But then once I read it, I realized how good this story actually is. And even a few weeks later, after reading the story, I can't help but think about this story and how well made, how well written it was, and what a great send-off it was for a character like Kraven, that when he was brought back, as many people that have read the story will tell you, the sequel stories just are not the same as Kraven's Last Hunt. It really does a disservice to the finale that they gave him in this story. So almost anyone watching this probably knows the story of Kraven's Last Hunt, with Spider-Man getting taken down by Kraven the Hunter, basically tranquilized and put into the ground, buried alive by Kraven, and then Kraven gets into Spider-Man's black suit, basically, and tries to become a better Spider-Man than Spider-Man is, proving that he's basically the best hunter as well as being a better Spider-Man than Spider-Man is. And the end of the comic basically has Kraven tell Spider-Man that he's proven his point, that he's won the battle, and then goes and commits suicide. There was things that surprised me in the story, such as the final battle being between... So Spider-Man versus Vermin being the final battle was pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting that to be the final battle being between Spider-Man versus Vermin, and the way that they implemented Spider-Man's PTSD that he recently acquired because of, he had just acquired this because of the situation he was put into by Kraven, burying him alive and him having to bring himself back basically from the dead, metaphorically, digging himself out of his own grave. And he's dealing with this as he's having his final battle between Vermin in the sewers of New York City. And overall, it was just a really good final battle. The action scenes were actually really well done, but the story wasn't really action heavy. It was mainly a story talking about Kraven's mental state and how he was definitely insane. And he took himself out at the end, proving his insanity, as he said that his mother was called insane, or, like he said, that they used to call my mother insane or something like that. Which Kraven himself, I guess, inherited from her, as he does mention that that's a fear that he had when he was a kid, that he would inherit her madness, which he eventually did, as we see throughout his character in the story, as well as his other appearances in Spider-Man's chronologically, story. Basically, Kraven's always been crazy. So I thought that was a really cool fitting in. It was just very poetic, and it was a very sad ending for the character as well. It really hits hard when you see a scene like this in a comic book, especially a superhero comic book that's supposed to be a little happy most of the time. Dark stories like this really do hit hard whenever it's not the norm, and definitely for a Spider-Man story, pretty dark. So not really the norm for a Spider-Man story, and it works because of that. But yeah, overall, Kraven's Last Hunt, I definitely cannot recommend it enough. It was a story that I thought was going to be overhyped, but after reading it and having my own opinions on it, I do think it's not a perfect story, as some people will say. I do think some of it might be a little dated with the way that it's worded and stuff like that. But, considering this came out, I think it was in the 80s, it has stood the test of time basically, and almost everything's going to be dated eventually a little bit in some ways, so I'm not taking that away from the story, but I do think it's something you need to keep in mind when you're going to read this for the first time in the modern era. Being, into modern comics or something like that, that's all you've been exposed to. Similar to stories from the 80s, that's mostly always going to be a thing you need to look at when you're going to check out stories from the 80s, and before that I would say 90s is really where we start getting our more modern era way of writing and dialogue and stuff like that. And we're still changing every decade, so words and lingo and all that's always changing. So like I said, it's always going to be something that is dated, but overall the story itself is great, and it still tells that story that it was trying to tell in the 80s all the way to now. Basically still hits hard, and it's just a well written, great written story. But that's gonna be all, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will have that Kraven versus battle out really soon. I don't want to reveal who he's going up against. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe for more versus battle videos. I will occasionally drop reviews of certain comic books that I've been reading, as I'm trying to, up my knowledge on different comics and just get more comic books read, on the daily basically, and try to get more knowledge for these videos, and maybe drop some reviews of stuff that I really do enjoy, because I want to drop stuff that I do enjoy and not just put out stuff for the sake of putting out reviews. And I want to have good energy in these videos and just have a good time with you guys reading comics. So if you guys enjoyed that, if you enjoy reviews, be sure to subscribe. But this mainly will be a versus channel, hopefully, because that's really what I want to focus on right now, and what the channel's focus is going to be for, the now, basically the here and now. That's going to be all, guys. Until next video, be sure to subscribe for more videos on comic books. And until next time, guys, God bless you. Until the next lesson, keep on reading those comics.